What is Gauss theorem? It states that the total electric flux linked through a closed surface is always equal to 1 by epsilon naught times the total charge enclosed by the surface, or you can say the surface integral of electric field over a closed surface, that is the flux, is always equal to 1 by epsilon naught times the total charge enclosed by the surface. And this will be 0 if Q is outside the surface. So let us try to solve a few problems. So this is the problem. It is an irregular shape but closed shape and surface, and charge is Q here. So what will be the flux over here? This is surface S1, spherical surface and enclosing the charge Q1, surface S2 enclosing charge Q2, and surface S3 enclosing charge Q3. So what will be the flux through the first surface, through the second surface, and the third surface? Here it is, the surface, again irregular, and the charge Q is placed over here. So what is the total flux over here? Here it is a cylindrical surface this way in T shape. Plus 1 microcoulomb is here, minus 2 microcoulomb is here, and plus 2 microcoulomb is here. So what is the total flux through this whole surface? So first, the total flux phi will be Q by epsilon naught, or not equal to this or 0. Yes, it is Q by epsilon naught. That is correct. This one is, it is Q1 by epsilon naught. What about the surface 2? It is Q2 epsilon naught. No, it's wrong. This surface is having charge Q1 as well as Q2, so this should be Q1 plus Q2 by epsilon naught. And similarly, phi 3 will be Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3. So it will be Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3 by epsilon naught. What about this? Is it Q by epsilon naught? Is it Q by epsilon naught? No, it's not Q by epsilon naught. Just see the surface. The charge is not inside the surface, it is outside the surface. So it will be always 0. Why it is 0? Because the electric lines of force are passing through this or this way. So as I explained in the earlier, if the charge is outside the surface, then flux is 0. So just try to see how this total flux linked through this surface when the charge is outside becomes 0. Just try to know it. I'll discuss later on. Now this case, here the phi will be again Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3. So here it is Q1 is 1 plus 2 minus 2 upon epsilon naught. That means it will be 1 by epsilon naught. I change the surface as a cubicle in the form of a cube, and the charge is placed at the center. Then what will be the flux? So that time also, according to the theorem, the total charge inside the surface upon epsilon naught is the total flux linked through the surface, closed surface. If this charge is placed somewhere else except the center, suppose it is placed here, so how much of the flux? Again the flux will be Q by epsilon naught. Now if this charge is placed at the center, then the total flux is q by epsilon naught. So how much flux is passing through the one of the phase? So flux through each surface, each phase of the cube will be कितना हो जाएगा? How many faces are there? 5? No, 6. 6 फेस होते हैं. 1, 2, front and back 4, top and bottom 6. So total flux through the 6 faces is this. Then through one face will be 1 by 6 q by epsilon naught. Now mind it, this is only when the charge is at the center. But if the charge is not at the center, it is placed somewhere else, then the flux through each phase of the cube will not be equal to q by epsilon naught, 1 by 6 q by epsilon naught, because total flux will remain this. But the surface which will be close to the charge will have more flux, and the surface which is far away will have less flux, but keeping the total flux q by epsilon naught. So this time it is not symmetrical, so every phase will not have equal. Okay. Now next, if we keep the charge at one of the phase, if we keep the charge at the one of the phase, then how much flux will be passing through this cube? कितना होगा? पूरे क्यूब में से जब चार्ज सेंटर में था तो क्यू बाय एप्सिलॉन नॉट था फ्लक्स. जब इसको किसी दूसरे पॉइंट पे शिफ्ट कर दिया गया तो अगेन इट वाज अनअफेक्टेड, इट वाज सेम, बट दिस टाइम इट इज प्लेस्ड ऑन द सरफेस. तो अब कितना हो जाएगा? ओके, जस्ट ट्राई टू ड्रॉ one more cube here. Now see, you have a cuboid now, and at the center of the cuboid the charge q is placed. So what will be the flux through this whole cuboid? So according to Gauss theorem, it is q by epsilon naught. Whatever is the same, it doesn't make any difference. So this time it is this. But if you see the symmetry, how much flux will be passing through this tube and how much flux will be passing through this tube? So since it is at the midway, at the center, the half of the flux will be above and half of the flux will be lower side. So in this case, when it is on the face, q on the face, then total flux will be half of the q by epsilon naught. So this time the flux will be half only. Similarly, if you can say, or if you see, if it is a sphere and the charge is placed at the center, if you cut the sphere and divide it into this hemisphere like this, then how much flux will be passing through this hemisphere? So that time the flux is again half this side and half from this surface. So it will be 1 by 2 q by epsilon naught. Now guess, if the charge is placed at the edge or at this edge, at the edge, if the charge is placed at the edge, then how much flux will be passing through this cube? One more. If this charge is placed at the corner here, then how much flux will be passing through this? So in that case, the flux will be कितना होगा? Just see, this charge will be surrounded by how many? You can just take the case of the room, and how many room can be adjacent to the room? How many rooms can be there? So there can be 8 rooms, one below, one that side, one below to that one this side, one below to that, one that side, and below to that. So there will be 8. So it will be 1 by 8 Q by epsilon naught. This you might have heard in or studied in case of the crystallography in chemistry, where you can say this atom is shared by the 8 unit cells. So 8 unit cells means 8 rooms are there to the corner, which are joined as a corner. यहाँ उधर उसके बगल में उसके 4 में से नीचे 40 फ्लोर पे, तो इसलिए टोटल 8 हो जाएंगे, जिससे 1 by 8 of Q and so on. Similarly, you can think of this कि अगर ये होगा इस दीवार के सामने कितने होंगे? एक ये होगा, एक उसके उधर होगा, एक इसके नीचे का और उसके नीचे होगा, तो there will be 4. So it will be 1 by 4 Q by epsilon naught. So आप just उसको visualize करें and you will get the total electric flux passing through all these surfaces.